Hi, boys and girls, lads and lassies, and welcome back to Let's Talk Geeky with myself, Jim, and FFSI's Mr. AWK and Archer Colin. Hi, guys.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
No, sorry.
Knee speaking that Viking tongue.
Well,
That
just
would
a
be
wee
inter-
bit.
Just a wee
I hope you lads have had a very good week. Sadly, we're missing out on Wen this afternoon. Well,
Yeah.
this afternoon, evening. I hope everything is great with her.
Yeah.
It's good to see you guys again. It's been a week. I wouldn't say it's been a bad week. It's literally went Monday morning, cup of coffee, and suddenly it was Friday afternoon.
Yeah,
It
I've
was
had
that
a
much to
busy
do.
last couple of days because I'm off for the next 2 days. I'm off Monday, Tuesday because my friend's down for the time. But I was busy yesterday. I couldn't even go into the father stream, and I've been busy all day. Not been out to the charity shop at all. I had a couple of machines to build, so they were getting done today and yesterday. So, Grand Moff, thank you for joining us. It's going to be a short stream tonight, ladies and gents, because I've got friends staying, so I need to be off because my room's next to the spare room, and my friend's daughter can't be too late to her kip because I can't actually keep quiet accordingly. I'm a bit noisy. Noisy? Me? What? I don't know what they're talking about. I'm always quiet. I hardly ever talk in these streams. I just sit back and listen. Honest.
We have such a time pulling you out of your shell.
Exactly. I just drag. I just don't understand it. It's the tally blood. Wait till I get drunk. I start climbing high buildings because I become a high tiddly eye tie.
You're not Spider-Man, are you?
Aye. That's what I'm saying. But when I'm drunk, I become a high tiddly eye tie. But then as soon as I sober up and I see where I am, I basically just, the colour drains. Then I become a peely wally tally.
We had a company night out Friday afternoon, Friday evening. We managed to do well, but the beer garden where they had it, we could literally see the people had started a little bit too early, sitting out in the sun, baking and roasting themselves.
Yeah.
And if you're having too many pints and you're getting baked in the sun, you're not gonna walk straight home.
Well, it's a nice day here. It's actually not too hot. We had a barbecue, so nice wee barbecue and a wee sit out. It was fun. Not too hot. The nice wee breeze kept becoming cold and back. I know. That's just not me. I'm shy.
It's just an internet rumor,
Exactly. These things is basically every time you see somebody that looks like me and out there and noisy, it's just somebody actually pretending to be me. Never be me. Never me at all.
There's
So,
only one, PJ.
Aye. My mother used to say they broke the mold when they made me, and my dad used to say, "Yep," and they jumped up and down it, make sure nobody could put it back together. Even my parents knew. Our family had this thing. My dad was the oldest of 7, and they classed him as the most stubborn one of the family. My mum was the oldest of 7, and they classed her as the most stubborn one in the family. And then they met me. Accordingly, I was not only stubborn, but I was a bit of a gab. Weird how people actually get this misperception of me. I don't understand where it comes from. Yeah, I mean, my wife had to propose to me and I was so shy I had to run away. It's fun.
So today I'm going to do something.
What happened there? That sounded like somebody was talking in the background.
No, that was me. I tried to download something on the phone and it's not downloading on the phone yet. And unfortunately, I can't download it. Still not. It's not downloading from whereby the some so I'll leave it for later. I wasn't actually expecting it to cut anything to actually come out there.
Yep. Yes, Dan Moss got a week off. I've only got 2 days off work this week, and then I get next Monday as well for the Glasgow Fair. We get the Glasgow Fair Monday. When I worked for my dad, we used to get the whole 2 weeks. That was the only holidays we got. We got the Christmas and we got the fair fortnight. And it's fun because you get people coming over to Scotland and asking everybody where the Glasgow Fair is. The Glasgow Fair isn't actually a fair, as in a fairground. It's a holiday, the Glasgow Fair. I think in the long distant past, there used to always be fairgrounds over those 2 weeks in Glasgow Green, and it became known as Glasgow Fair, but it was just a holiday called the Glasgow Fair.
It's more how they split up the Market Street days, because it used to be people putting up the tents on like the high streets and the Market Street and the King Street, and they were selling like fresh produce, goods and everything, kind of like farmers market, but even that is separate from what it is now. And it's become so split. It's supposed to be like a big mix of it all, and it's supposed to be like a family day out, and I do miss that when I was growing up, because it was special. It was like once a month or once a quarter, and it was really, really special. You got really good food. You got to see shows if you were lucky.
We always enjoyed the Glasgow Fair. It was our holiday, so even if we went away or whatever, but we used to go camping. We'd go down to Luss because my aunt had a boarding house down here with because my uncle used to work for the Forestry Commission. So, and he just passed away. That's why I'm thinking about it. He passed away last week. So, but we used to go down there, have great holidays down there. We would have tents out. Only the parents or the grandparents were in the boarding house. We were all out in tents and caravans around, and it was on the loch, so it was basically superb. We used to have fun.
You can thank the Bishop and the King for the Glasgow Fair. It was first given permission in 1190 by King William the Lion to Bishop Jocelyn to hold the fair.
Well, we still get that holiday up here, the Glasgow Fair.
Well, a lot of the thing is that a lot of them actually. The reason I looked that up is quite a few fairs, fates, actually go back to specific events, specific permission. I mean, the biggest one I know is Llantrisant in Wales, and they have a fair every year, which goes back to 1346 because their archers saved the Black Prince. But a lot of these big city fairs go back to when the city was granted its a city charter or something like that. They're sort of civic-based events, which have obviously the way we live has changed, but the fairs are still there.
Good. Well, it's always good when I'm just laughing at Murph. She stayed near Loch Long for a week once in an auto sleeper. Damn those midges. Best one I ever saw. My granda from my dad's side, wee Tally. He was like 5'1", built like a brick shit house because he was a monumental mason, and the midges always used to go for him because he's sallow skin. And we always used to go camping as a whole family. My granddad, my granda, my uncles, my aunts, my cousins, about 20 to 30 of us all rolling up, jumping out, setting up tents and everything. It was great. But he decided the midges were too much for him, so he was going to sleep in the car. Sleeping in the car, these midges are biting, but he forgot to shut the window.
Oh dear.
He left the window open about that much, and when he came out, he was midgie bites from his bald head. Every piece of skin it was showing. It was midgie bites all up his sleeves and everything. And my dad, my uncles just sat there and laughed at him and says, and you didn't close the window. Why? Forgot.
Me and my dad went out into the shall we say north of the Arctic Circle wilderness, and middle of the summer. It was uncomfortable as hell, but we put on full on rain suits, boots, and all of that. And we were sitting at a tiny little creek fishing with like simple fishing poles, and we were raking them in, and we were facing away from each other because I was taking the upstream, he was taking the downstream. And I just turned around and I just looked at him being completely covered, but obviously they can't get through the plastic. But it was literally like shearing a sheep, just peeling them off. It was just such a thick layer. You've seen the beehive videos. It was that bad.
Yeah, midges can be fun. I'm okay. Van Murphy, you definitely need to get it up and running. Get streaming.
Yep.
Join the boys and the girls and have fun. Just
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
just get started. Just look at me and PJ. We began with, I think my total equipment was 30 quid when I began. Camera, microphone, and even a soundboard.
Oh,
and PJ is saying that just as he's crashing out.
I kept it. Look, see if I've still got it here. For the sake. It's literally, it is somewhere in here. I kept it because it was so cheap. I spent £6 on the camera thinking, that'll do. And then I realised, no, it didn't do. So I spent £10 and bought one of these. And that worked a hell of a lot better. And then I spent another tenner and bought a mic. And that worked. I've upgraded them slightly since, but you can see my first ones with really cheap stuff because I didn't have the cash. And I thought, they'll do. They didn't. You can see especially the videos. The video was... Oh, pardon me.
But that's the self-criticism you have of yourself.
No,
because
no.
everyone has to at least begin, and that's what people miss.
Yeah.
Just start doing it. Then you can worry 2 years down the line.
Yeah. Definitely.
Get the cool avatar, get the better microphone, get better lighting, get the better setup, learn how to deal with editing videos or dealing with audio or how to cut and edit the video. Me and Alex, we've been working quite a few times the past couple of months, like making a couple of intro segments and whatnot. And if you team up with someone, it will help you.
Yeah.
It's like what
I love that. That is so true. A kind man gave us macro, asked him how you get used to midges, and he tried and says, you don't. And you don't. You definitely don't.
You don't.
I'm lucky, I think. Midges don't bother me, but they bother my wife, and it doesn't matter what, where, and when. It could be quite cold, and if there's a midgie around, she'll get it.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a lot of them, we have to keep the doors and the windows up in the car. Can't come out. Doesn't matter how hot it is.
I think it's different in different countries. So if I'm far north, they don't seem to find me or whatever it is. If I'm on the like Yorkshire or north of Yorkshire, they definitely like me. If I'm in Scotland, Glasgow, Edinburgh, or north, there is no midges for me whatsoever. Down south here, maybe once or twice a year I get the bite, but it's like mainly on my hands.
Yeah. I usually get...
I'm going to show you something. Where I've got my aircon linked up, I'll show you this quickly. I built that box there just to keep the flies and, the midges out. Because it does work to a T, but...
Yeah, that's why every so often you'll see me, I'll sort of go like that because a wee teeny fly will fly past and I'll try and grab it out of the way. Nobody
Yeah.
can see it, but I can, and it's annoying.
The thing
But-
is, it's great. It's great if you have some netting, but sometimes you always find gaps.
Yep, definitely. But Grand Moff, definitely get something. Just get it up and running, just and chat. Even the thing is, see if you don't get a camera, just use an
Yeah.
avatar.
Well, can I just mention something? When me and Colin first started out, I said, Colin, I got this microphone, not the stand, but the microphone kit. I got in a 2-pack, and I sent the other half to Colin. So me and Colin started out that way. You can get reasonable microphones for a decent price, but upgrade
Yeah.
later on.
Yeah. I had one of them somewhere. I have got one of them somewhere.
This one is USB-C charged. When you hit one, it sounds like lightning is striking, or Thor is like literally going wham.
Well, I suppose it's appropriate for Wimbledon week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All that's missing is the strawberries.
One of the girls was in yesterday heading home. She had a punnet of strawberries. And I says, didn't you eat them when you were watching Wimbledon at lunch? She says, I forgot my cream. So she didn't eat her strawberries because she forgot her cream. I thought, yeah, very, very Wimbledon. But yeah. So what have you been watching, guys? What have you been up to this week? Film, TV wise, movie wise, comic wise.
Watching Moonraker earlier. I've got to finish that off at some point.
Mm-hmm. I've had a mixed bag, I must admit.
Bag.
I've been watching all different things. Because
Well-
I got to the end of For All Mankind, then I
Yeah.
watched the Orville. I watched What Is a Woman. I've got a new audiobook. I finished the Belgariad. Sorry, I finished Belgarath, not the Belgariad, because I was about to start Belgariad, and then Dungeon Crawler Carol Book 5 dropped, and I got it.
Did
So I
you
started
watch?
that.
Did you watch the latest episode for All Mankind?
Episode 5, yes.
Yeah. What did you think of that ending?
The two of them falling out.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, season 3 is dropping in my expectations. As soon as they started bringing in the corruption and the Russians, I just
Yeah.
nah.
Yeah, but I just
It
found
is- The thing is, that you're right about one thing, and as you said, thingy is it is woke as hell, but
Yeah.
it's done right. It's not bad. It's done. It's an alternate timeline for anybody that doesn't know. All Mankind's about the space race, and it's an alternate timeline. So instead of Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and Mike Chapman landing on the moon,
Yeah.
or doing the Apollo mission, it's the Russians that land. And then before the Americans can get somebody on the moon, the Russians land again, and it's a woman they land. And because of that, there's a big rush from the American space program to bring in a women's one, which they brought the Mercury 13, which was actually an actual Mercury training program for women at the time, but it got dropped. And one of the characters is named after the woman who passed all the tests with flying colours. The same test that the male astronauts had to pass, she passed with flying colours. And they named the character who was the main character in that after her. And it was she really good, one of my favourite characters. So they go down the route of bringing in more females, so it makes it more female centric, and it is what people would class very feminist ideology, but it's done right. The male characters don't get disparaged. They're still male characters. They're still doing the silly things that male characters would do.
So
As they
we're
get
talking kind of a Christina Sommers kind of feminist. If you
Yes.
remember the old lady from back in the day, 2016. she was actually saying, no, it's just about the equal
Yeah,
fair shot.
Easily, what do you call her? What was her name? The one that actually got into trouble for speaking her mind about
Christina
feminism.
Hoff Summers.
No,
Christina Hoff Summers is the American one where we had one.
The English, the English girl, the English woman.
something.
It's her name's so. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Pissay or whatever it was, because she wanted to build domestic abuse shelters for men here in UK, and the feminists drove her out. Literally made her have to leave UK.
Yeah, of course. But it is so well done. The first season is great. Second season is good as well. Third season, when they bring in the corruption parts of it, I don't want to see that because they're starting to bring in a darker side, whereas the politics and the way it was all about the American space program trying to beat the Russians. Now they're bringing in the Russians in, and the Russians are the bad guys. But it's to the point. I wish they would just concentrate on that and don't bring the Russians in at all, so the Russians weren't around it. And that's the only thing I've got.
It was always leading me up from season 2 onwards. It's just that one character. I knew she was going to get into bed with the Russians.
But the other character I hate as well is that young boy.
Yeah.
Get into bed with
I know.
With Karen. And one of the main characters is called Karen. Was the lady called Peasy? No. I'm just trying to remember her name. She's very well known feminist icon in the UK. And it's on the tip of my tongue. It's almost like I could, and every time I'm thinking about it, it just sort of goes, no.
Yeah, it comes to you.
That's the thing, that they're trying to say that, it's just a waste of space. No, they have genuine points that are worth listening to. Yeah. It's just that they have so few that are articulate at presenting them. Just look at Stephen Fry. He gets a lot of flack for a lot of things that he's doing because he's getting more woke as the time goes by. But he's still articulate and trying. He's stumbling, but he is trying. Yeah, not even your dogs are liking him anymore, PJ. But there are topics. All topics should be approachable. You should just not be, what's it called? Not fanatic, dogmatic, or whatever it is. It's like it's this way or no way whatsoever.
Yeah.
And this, when it comes to even the woke films, I'll say, give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely happy to try and watch it, but the fact is, wherever they bury themselves in Marvel, Star Wars, Star Trek, all of these new things, they can't tell a story worth of shit.
Speaking about Star Wars, I discovered yesterday, I've already shared the link through Discord, someone's done a cut of Obi-Wan Kenobi and really cut out a lot of, parts of the story which was not relevant.
So it's about 30 seconds long then?
No, more like 2 hours and 30, Colin. But they've cut back on the...
I know her name. Jermaine Greer.
That's it.
What, Jermaine Greer got in
I knew it was a head that just pop into my head.
She's the one who burned Broad, isn't she?
Yeah, Jermaine Greer got stuck with that.
Completely all about equal rights across the board. So she is. She doesn't want special rights, as she keeps saying. She wants equal rights. Which
equality rather than superiority and domination.
Exactly. And
does the more female centric right. Everybody, if you were watching it very cynically, which we do you think this is woke, but it's done right. You can get away with these type of stories. It's an alternate history. There's only two things I hate about it. Two things I hate about it. At the beginning of each season, they move the years on 10 years or something like that. Sometimes there's 2 years skip or a 4-year skip. They always do that. However,
well, you're talking about space travel.
No.
To Mars is like at least a 12-month project.
They moved the story on. So, like, for instance, the first one's set in the 60s about the moon landing. The second one is 10 years later. The next one, it's and then in the middle of that, they'll do a 2-year jump.
Yeah.
Because they talk about we're going to actually go to Mars. So they'll do a two-year jump. So there's jumps like that in it. But they at least tell you it's doing it. What I hate is at the beginning of each season, to let you know what's happening around the world, because it's an alternate history, they show you news articles here and there, so that the Beatles, John Lennon didn't kill. He's still around, but the 1980 or 1990, I think it was 1992, when the second season started, Camilla Parker Bowles became the Queen, which means they've either killed off the Queen. So I dislike that. I completely hated that aspect of it. And then the second one, the murder and assassination of Margaret Thatcher.
They changed that very slightly because that was so goddamn close. I don't remember the one with Camilla, but
they basically they're talking about Camilla Parker Bowles as the Queen, which it's not a case. So they're basically talking about her. She's inaugurated as a Queen. I don't know if that means that's when she marries Prince Charles, or who must be the now king.
Well, I mean, given how close they are generally to our time zone, season 2 would have been the 80s.
Yeah.
What are you?
Season 2 was the 90s. They definitely did. I'll try and dig it out. But
I was going to say, are you sure? But without,
I could see that she did.
What I could see them do.
And the part I thought that works because what they're effectively saying is, instead of him marrying Diana, he actually married the woman.
Yeah, that I was going to say.
That would have been fine. But if they had just said about how Charles had married and Camilla was now Princess Camilla Parker, whatever, but they didn't. She was Queen, which means they had to either Queen died or she stepped down, and I did not like that.
Right, no,
Elvis is still alive. They keep going on about how he's just bloated and how he just keeps on singing his own songs and stuff like that. I know.
Elvis is alive, and he did a mega mind kind of maneuver. He faked his own death.
I know, that's
threw the mantle down, and then
he
he just ran off to like a hill somewhere where he stole his old schoolhouse, and he's just sitting there and playing music.
I think he's alive and well, and he stays in Kilmarnock because there's a guy who works down the chip shop, swears he's Elvis.
Yeah, but he's alive, and I'm not sure about you.
Oh, I know. I can never help that anytime that song just goes boom. Yeah. I'm not a great one for music, but it pops into my head every time. The guy works down the chip shop, swears he's Elvis. And I'm terrible for it. I can't sing it, but I can't help it. But I will try and dig out that clip at some point.
Yeah, I'll say it right now.
It's so it'll be the second one, and they're just going through it all, and it's the bit where they're talking about Queen.
All right, because I remember them because I know it was very close. The Iowa nearly did get.
Yeah, they have bits. So certain ones who got shot gets killed, and when they survive, someone who got killed didn't get killed. It survived the assassination attempt because I think they did not actually kill off one of the Pope. The one that actually got shot and survived.
Say, yeah, I was going to say, did they kill John Paul II off or not in that? I can't remember.
I think they did. There was one. I'm sure it was the Pope that got killed. But the two things I hated is they changed those two. I didn't mind the fact that it's implying Charles married Camilla, because to me that's more honourable, marrying the person rather than marrying somebody else and still having an affair. That I despise that in anybody. So, but the fact that it implies that the Queen's either stepped down or been killed, and it doesn't mention it, it mentions her being. Oh, I know, terrible.
I think it's a very. I mean, it's.
Hi, Cam.
I think it's a very cleverly done thing. I mean,
It's Gordon. My God, Mr.
Gordon's
Brown.
alive!
Hi. Hi, Gordon. How are you? No, Gordon has done a couple of early streams with me about Eureka and Stargate. We never finished them, but very early on, he brought me out of my shell, so he did.
I was going to say, not that Gordon Brown then.
Not that Gordon Brown. This one's actually can do maths.
You mean this one actually have a pulse?
For mankind, I thought last week's episode, the one last week, I thought was going to be. I thought it was going to happen pretty much once they all set off. I thought, okay, so at some point something's going to happen. They're going to have to work together, and I still reckon that next something's going to go wrong next week.
Yeah. Do you know what I hated about the most recent episode? The one thing that annoyed me. Remember the end of the last episode, 3 people died. Yeah. Well, you knew 2 died. Well, you knew for definite 1 died. You suspected a second one died, and there was a possibility the third one died because you just saw the wire coming in and it goes and just cracked his visor, and it left it at that, and then it opened up with the funeral for the cosmonaut.
Yeah.
And in that crew, they didn't do a funeral for the Scottish guy. And obviously they couldn't do a funeral for the woman because she got literally obliterated by getting crushed with the 2 spaceships coming together. I could understand that, but nothing about
I suppose
the Scots guy who was on the American crew. So they didn't do the 2 funerals, they did the 1. And the only reason you knew the Scots guy died is because they mentioned it on Earth. 3 people die, and then they mentioned the 3 people. And
then again, I think it gave you flashbacks to the first episode at the end where you don't know if the kid's been killed or not.
That's Margaret Thatcher getting assassinated, right? Yes, but it wasn't in that season. It was the season before, I think.
Well, season 2.
So that season 3, the start of season 3.
Yeah.
So it would have been the start of season 2 about Camilla.
Might have to dig that one out.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm sure it was the 18th.
But then again, that was about the same time as well. When was the Brighton bomb? Brighton pub bomb was
that not? Well. I think that's meant to be the Brighton bomb.
That is right. Yeah, she was successfully killed during the Brighton bombing.
So basically, that's what I'm saying. So what they're doing is they are actually things that happened. It's changed slightly, which works because it's an alternate history. So you can get away with that, not a problem. But it's only 2 things that annoyed me that they changed the alternate. I can understand why they did things, but those 2 things annoy me. That's all it is.
They still need to send David Hasselhoff into Berlin to bring down the Berlin Wall.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
I mean, no David Hasselhoff, no fall of the Berlin Wall. You know, come on. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Gordon, hope to see you next Tuesday. Magic the Gathering. Message me if you're going. But
it's alternate history and science done well because
it is because in the 90s they've got video phones. Yeah. And why would you have video phones? Because the space race kept up, which means there was a lot of technological advances that you don't have here.
That's true.
Well, I've always said I reckon that if the Americans hadn't lost interest after Apollo 17.
Yeah.
I'll completely ignore Steve Austin and Apollo 18, but if the Americans hadn't lost interest after Apollo after 17, I think we would have a base on Mars. I don't know if it would have been in the 90s.
No,
It might have taken a little bit long, but I think we'd be there by now, easily.
But I think because they had the space race and it was quite, I mean, you can understand why they had all these bits and pieces. But season 3 is just going because they brought another group in, and then the Russians are, and I just, it just stick with what you had. It was working. Now you've changed it, and don't do that.
I think season 3 might be going down the path of being the last season at the moment.
I think so. I think it's there'll not be anywhere to go, because then it will become into the realms of alternate history. It will go to the realms of science fiction, because it will start going too far into the future. So it won't be 2010 or 2011. It'll be like 2040. So,
this one is the mid 90s. So the next one theoretically would be
the 2000s, 2010, maybe at the latest.
Which would actually be really interesting to see if they actually dare do that. If it'd be interesting to see if they actually dare do anything about September 11th.
No, see, that's what I think they won't. I think that's why I think they'll jump ahead, and that takes it. At the moment,
but I mean,
it's technically science fiction, but it's an alternate history, so they can twist things. Which we've got just now, and they're saying, well, we may have had it 30 years ago, and it might be better because of the race and stuff like that.
They could quite easily do it. I mean, the thing is, I mean, interesting to see it, because there is, within the constraints of the story, there is no reason that they can't go to the 2000s, and they've either got September 11th, 2001 the Twin Towers happen, or it don't.
Yeah, I don't think it would, because the way they're implying they're not as military, so that I can't see them getting into Afghanistan. So I don't see the Russians going to Afghanistan, which starts off with Taliban.
Evidently, the Russians didn't go into Afghanistan. And if the Russians never went into Afghanistan, if the Russians
been funded by the Americans.
If the Russians didn't go into Afghanistan, that changed. And the thing that gets me is, I was saying to Alex on Friday when we were watching it, it's not so much the history, it's the science.
Yeah,
we get it
good because they're not going.
Where do you go? Where do you go? You've done the Mars. So they've done the moon. They've done moon bases.
Yeah.
They've done
the one thing I hated about the moon base is with the two of them dying. That really pissed me off the way they did it.
That was a bit
that was a bit ridiculous. That's like someone said to them, right, see all that science stuff? Just I wanted this, so find some way of doing it. But that'll not be believable. Doesn't matter. It, just make it sound believable.
But don't forget, this was created by the guy who did the reimagining Battlestar Galactica and also wrote episodes on DS9.
But the thing is, it gets me, is where are they going to go next? So the next step, obviously, clearly within our capabilities now is Mars. But what's after that?
Jupiter's moons.
But what's the difference? What is the difference between the Jovian or Saturnian moons and Earth's moon, other than the fact it's a long way away?
Yeah, the only difference I think it would be Titan's moon, because that's the one they think might have microbial life.
I mean, they might do that, or they might.
That's Europa, isn't it?
I think this is where they need to start investigating. If they want to do it properly, they have to go for Arthur C. Clarke, Philip K. Dick. I forget who wrote John Carter, Raymond something, but you also have Heinlein. Yeah, you have to go for them.
Please. Yeah. My most disappointing thing Disney ever did was bugger up John Carter of Mars.
Yeah, they did that deliberately. But
So
I was just going to say beforehand.
sorry to say, I actually loved John Carter.
Yeah, but it was
I
designed.
did.
But he wasn't the book. It was more Starship Troopers in comparison, if you
Yeah.
wanted to do it that way. But it
It
was
was-
still an amazing matinee film. You'll put it on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
You're prepping your Sunday roast. You have everything cooking. It's on the big screen in the living room. You're just casting glances at it. It is just good entertainment to have in the
It
background.
is. They brought some
Yeah.
things in there that weren't in the books, but that's what I said. They should, if they'd actually handled that properly, they should have. They should. That is as big a disaster. The Birds movie. That's two cases where the filmmakers completely, for different reasons, completely screwed up potential new, ongoing franchises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the Thunderbirds movie had been done well and gone down well, you could have had a whole series of Thunderbirds movies. If they hadn't mishandled John Carter's advertising, you
They
could have
did
then
that
gone on.
deliberately because he did
Well,
not
but
like it. He wanted it to feel.
You can also tell, and John Carter stands out quite harshly comparing to the background. At the time when it came out, they only thought this is going to be a one-off film.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They blew everything they had, tried to cram it into one without giving the explanation of the intelligence, the connection with the factions and the different races. The build on the connections, the political play with the I keep forgetting what they call, but Barsumian is not. It's not Barsumian. It's the either way they misplayed it in the film to a very great extent, but it wasn't. Well, from where I see it, they played it for one film. They did not anticipate playing on with
No,
this
agree.
faction, that faction,
Yeah.
the third faction, and John Carter trying to actually stay out of it, because that's one of the true things that actually comes through in his character in John Carter film is I don't care.
I think
See,
they gave it
before
the
we
wrong
go any
title.
further on the John Carter route, I just want to finish two things. Disaster Area says a Russian shuttle that works, that only works because they nicked the Americans' design.
Yep.
And he asked if they team up with the Americans. Alex already answered that. Watch the episode 5. And there's each season's 10 episodes. So,
well, as for reality, it's been Russian shuttles to the International Space Station for the last quarter of a century.
Well, one interesting thing I think they did there that I was surprised that they didn't actually remark back upon, or as much as they did, is that when the spoiler alert, when the Americans saved the Russians' arse, they do actually flash back, but they don't actually make it much point that it's the same character who, if I remember right, disobeyed orders back in season 1. Actually shook hands with the Russians.
Yeah.
It
was because she recognised him and she was chatting to him.
Yeah. I know. And now she's having an argument with a Russian who serves fun on Mars.
Yeah. But I think
the thing is, that was something that to me they messed up. See, when it started about their Mars mission, it started with a foot landing on it.
Yeah.
And then it says 2 years earlier. So the boot was black, yet there was 3 crews trying to land at the same time. The American Russian crew, because what happened, and the private crew. The private crew's outfit, their spacesuit, was black, believe it or not. The Russian one was sort of a tan colour, and the American ones was white. Yet, if you look back, it definitely looked as if it was a black boot that landed on Mars.
Doesn't
So
mean
that
it
they're
wasn't.
effectively telegraphing something and showing the visually something that was different
Yeah.
because of the way what happened on the land to Mars. I'm trying not to actually spoil too much because Disaster
Also,
Radio, you should definitely watch it.
Yeah, well,
Episode 5
still-
answers a lot of questions.
I still reckon they've set up for something for the next episode where they're all going to have to work together anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you for starters, how much space have they actually got on the American? Even though they've lost 3 people out of the 2 crews, they've now got 2 crews minus 3 people on a vessel that's designed for 1 crew.
I know, but the thing is, I think the Americans had, was it 7, and the Russians had 5. So the Russians lost 2, and the Russians lost 1, and so maybe a 4-man crew, because there's 8 people. So if the Americans lost 2 and the Russians lost 1, it left 8, and I'm sure the Americans had 7, so they're down to 5 and the 3 Russians. So that's the way it is. So there's only 1 extra.
There's still someone's got to die on Mars.
Yeah.
I can guarantee.
10 to 1, I think it's that lad who had an affair with someone's wife.
But I still think that because the other thing you've now got, of course, is that you've got, and we can speculate because it's not I say it, spoilers as such, but looking ahead in speculation, you've got the only base on Mars, right? You've got 1 Mars base. Let's just call it that, whatever you know. But it's got no orbital backup. It's got nothing. It's there. If they have any trouble whatsoever, they've got no one that can come. They've got no backup. Their backup is the independent one.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And they've already shown that they don't care enough.
Yeah,
They just want to be first, and they want the stuff. So they're very. It shows the independent is if it doesn't get, it's not profitable. We don't care.
But the thing is, though, that what you got, which is why you could have if you think about it, what the Helios team were doing, they were doing Apollo.
Yeah.
They were doing Apollo missions. They had the lander and they had the command module. Okay, so the command module was basically a hotel in space.
Yeah.
But the same thing counts. They had a mothership command module, 2-way format, right? If anything happens on Mars,
the pirate stuff. The pirate stuff.
That was they had some fantastic. They did. They really did. Although what actually,
Jim, like our captain, and then they play our doors, and then they played it over the open radio, and they actually unfurled their sails. I was pissing myself. I thought that was very well done.
Why didn't have the Jolly Roger raised? I don't know.
Because it has specific meanings.
Yeah.
Because for the same reason, because the last time the Jolly Roger was actually raised was in 1982 by HMS Conqueror, I think it was. And it was decided, okay, maybe we kind of better not do this. Maybe we kind of better not let people know that our submarines have just come back from a successful secret mission.
Yeah.
Because it was a submarine come back from a successful mission. This particular case, it had just taken out an old World War II American destroyer. No longer in America, or no longer in North American service. This is 1982. They'd just taken out the General Belgrano in the Falklands. And they came back and they flew, as was naval tradition. It was like, no, we probably better not do that because this was supposed to be a covert mission. But the really interesting thing is that I've been binge watching to catch up on the Orville.
Oh,
And
don't mention the most recent episode of the Orville.
Within a couple of days of that one, I'd seen that one. I've been watching the episode from last season, I think. Yeah, where that was it last season? Or was it one of the early ones? This is where they got arrested. Where they got that planet that was ruled by astrology.
Yeah,
and they the solution was, let's con these Hicks, and we'll open up a new star, and this star was a solar sail, pretty close to the same as the one that they used in For All Mankind.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah. Has anybody seen the Orville, the most recent one?
I've just started watching the most recent one. The interesting thing is, I saw the rabbis' reviews of those, and I sat there thinking,
I've not seen any reviews of it.
And if we're talking the last episode, the last one, the one with Topher,
yes, the time travel one.
No, not the time travel one. Time travel one.
Yeah, this later was a time travel episode, and it is.
Oh, that
case about the follow up to About a Girl.
Yeah.
No, that to me was.
I haven't seen that one yet. But...
That was bad. I thought it was bad.
See,
the thing is, I don't like Clyden. Clyden's deliberately set so you don't like Clyden because he's xenophobic, he's anti-female, because it's an all-male society. So he's designed to be that way. However,
there's some things about that don't make the things that whole society that don't make sense to me. But I've not gone into much.
Yes,
but what got me is it's something. I was like listening to. I mean, I've now seen all the episodes up to 5.
Hold on, Gordon. It's a weekend Tuesday. Sorry, I got the dates wrong. It's a weekend Tuesday. Message me and I'll contact you after. Sorry, I didn't want Gordon to actually
turn up. No problem. I would have to ask if he's a gay Gordon, but I won't go down that far.
Well, I think he's bar you.
What? It's a dance tune. I remember. No, what I was saying was there's something I'm finding really interesting about that is I've seen the reviews, and admittedly, of course, I've seen the reviews that I've seen, which have been from one particular viewpoint. But just listening to the rabbi's review of that one, I thought, I commented, I said, from what you're saying, I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure if this is a pro-trans or it is a trans story or a de-trans story.
It's a de-transition story. The story doesn't bother me either side, but the bit it did, and I dislike Clyden. Clyden's designed to be disliked.
You're supposed to, yes.
But the way they stepped in, and effectively the same as they did About a Girl, where they did it with Bortus, was as a case of, because we agree with you, you're unimportant. So because the Mocklins agreed with Clyden, Bortus's feelings were unimportant. And I disliked that one for that reason. Whereas this one, it was Kelly, and it stepped in right over the top because she didn't agree with it. And if she makes me agree with Clyden that the only two people in that family that has got anything to do with it is Clyden and Bortus. Nobody else, but she named in into something that was not her business because it was family. And that's why I really disliked that episode. Because
I haven't seen it probably yet. But what the other thing that got me actually was, I said again, I think again, Rabbi's young was I was getting flashbacks to a season 1 episode of Babylon 5, to Believers.
Yeah,
where the Doctor.
Yes, exactly. He basically decides, I'll operate anyway. Doesn't matter what you think. Yeah. And then he was so disgusted that they killed the baby because, as far as they were concerned, the baby's soul was gone.
Yeah.
Because
that's
he'd been cut into. So it was the doctor who did it, not them. And it's all to do with culture. And the fact is, these two keep fucking nabbing into other cultures. It's like Star Trek, the original thing where is you've got prime directors, but Kirk would still do stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
He didn't actually do it. It was a generic thing across the planet. He would do things that, like, for instance, if they didn't want their planet fixed, he would, like they did in the one where they put the star up to basically they replace the star, and maybe it might get better because it doesn't change their beliefs. It just sort of takes something that they see as bad luck and put it up. And that's what it was. So the thing is, out of the 5 episodes it's been on, 3 of them have been follow-up episodes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing, the interesting thing to me, I thought, well, that one also is that in fact, there was
Roman, we did the Wrath of Khan a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
A fantastic movie.
We're posting clips on our channel of Wrath of Khan on old.
Yeah. We the thing is, I mean, the interesting for that was because it was that one a while ago. Again, the thing is, because I hadn't seen all of season 2, so I binge watched. So I've not got a 2-year gap between season 2 and season 3.
Yeah, same.
So,
I do that a lot of that.
I
always
so
with season 3 starting, I rewatch 1 and 2.
The Topa. A couple of 3 days after, I've watched the one where there was an entire planet of female Mokla.
Yes,
you know, so it's still in mind, Evan. But what I'm finding is
see this episode we're talking about, the one about Topa.
Yeah.
What did you think of the girl who played Topa?
I haven't seen it. I've been watching
it.
No, I haven't seen it. I only started. Well, I only caught the first bit of it, but then someone else came up. So
watch the actress playing Topa. Yeah. She is fucking amazing.
Oh,
because you believe she's the male side and you believe she's the female side.
Yeah, I've seen it. Really good.
She is really good. She is.
I mean, they've got. I mean, because I was watching. I'm beginning to. I'm coming to the conclusion. Unless it's just me and I'm particularly missing points left, right, and centre, which is possible. That we are. That there's a possibility of coming down and reading too much. I mean, nowadays, if I go back and watch the second 11th Doctor story, The Beast Below, I come up and Liz 10 turns her up and Benjamin goes, oh, fuck, here we go. Whereas until this shit came out, I had no problem with Liz 10 being a black queen. You know, and I'm wondering because I was watching, again, the previous episode, which was the one that I've seen a lot of people say is Trump derangement syndrome. And I'm thinking, okay, I can see where you would get that, but at the same time, I'm not sure I'm necessarily seeing that. I can also see it's something, it's telling something as well. Also, being British, I can actually see anti-Brexit sentiment in that almost as much as anti-Trump.
God, I know.
But I'm looking at one. I mean, they had one bit of what I thought was really interestingly telling. There's a bit in there about abortion and what the Krill do, because there's some bit and Ed's had some
see, the thing is what they did with the abortion, right? To me, somebody's asked me why I think things are right or left wing, and I says it's the way they're presented, right? So if they presented it that abortion's no problem, go ahead, or we don't hang me to you, which they basically said that that's really cruel the way you do that to those people, and they says no, we want these people to know that it's a life that's gone. So it showed you to me, the union are the left,
Definitely. I mean,
and the I keep on going to say Kalons, but that's the androids. The Krill
Yeah.
are the right wing, the alt. And did you not notice how money's bad? Because look, the union have got no corruption. Nobody's poor yet. They've ultra religious race have got strip joints. They've got poor people. Oh dear, is that because they've got money? Maybe. And I thought, heck off. These are typical communists.
Yeah. Well, the thing that got me though was actually that bit when you're talking about the abortion. It struck me was okay. That's the one thing lefties really, really hate: being made to face consequences. Right? It's not a judgmental thing because I mean, from the point of view of someone who has no kids and has no dog in the fight, so to speak.
Yeah.
Seems to me that okay.
Well, they doubled down in your vote in this episode, as far as I'm aware. They doubled down.
No, I mean, it may well be. They may be seeing things, and I may well be, as I say, either not noticing or not seeing them, or for whatever reason. It's quite possible.
To me, in this episode, it's a time travel episode, right?
Oh, right.
Sorry, ladies and gents, I'm going to do a bit of a spoiler. So if you've not seen the Orville and you do not want to hear me, mute me. And I'll do that when I'm finished. All right. Basically, I'll give the thumbs up when I'm finished. However, it's a time travel episode. It's no John. It's the pilot, the one with the beard, the ginger.
Yeah,
Gordon. He gets thrown back in time, and they go back to save him, but they end up 10 years later than when he turned up there. And it turned out he's got a life. He's got a wife, and he's got a son, and his wife's pregnant. So they try to get him to leave, and he says, I'm not leaving because I've made a life here. I waited 3 years for you to come, and I tried to keep out of the timeline. So he says, but I couldn't. We're social creatures. I needed to be in amongst people. He says, so if you take me back, the way I lived, I had to kill animals. So if I go back, I'm a murderer. If I stay here, I might nothing might happen or something might happen. So he basically gives both sides, because you don't know about the time travel, you don't know how it's going to affect it. He's effectively saying, but if I go back, because I've survived by killing and eating animals, I'm a criminal, because obviously in their time it's illegal to kill and eat animals. So you can see where it's going. But they come back and say, we need to take you back. And he brings out the gun and says, you're not going to take me back. He says, what are you going to do, kill us? He says, no, I'll stun you and then I'll disappear and you'll never find me. They says, well, they get their engines running and go, we're just going to go back 10 years and pick you up. Well, he's standing there with his wife, his son, and his pregnant wife and his son. And he's heartbroken. You think he's going to actually shoot him. I must admit, I thought the guy who played Gordon was leaving this episode. So this was a good way of letting him leave, and he's happily ever after, because it's the same girl that he had fallen for, who from the time machine, the time capsule.
I was going to say,
girl.
I was watching
met in the time capsule and he'd fallen in love with. So, but it was a good way of letting him out. But no, they says, well, we're going to go back 10 years and pick you up before any of this happened. So he's come to his wife and his son and says, our love will last throughout time. We will not forget each other. And then he goes back and he gets picked up. You see the three of them, and you see them feel Ed and Kelly being very cagey and feeling a bit guilty because effectively they've aborted those two children, right? And he says, I'll tell you later. And you're sitting there thinking, they're going to tell him, and how's he going to react? Is he going to be so angry? He's still going to leave. So it's still him leaving the show, but he's leaving angry. So he might be able to come back in as a baddie. is something that he's. So I thought maybe he's still leaving, but it gives him an option if he wants to come back and do an episode to get revenge or try to get revenge on something. That's the way I was thinking it down. And then he goes, "That was really bad of me. How terrible. Don't you worry. I don't mind. Let's have a party and have a drink." So he's effectively turns around and says, "Yeah, you were really in love with her. You had one child of 7-year-old, and you had another pregnant baby, and we went back, picked you up, so they weren't born. So effectively, we aborted them." And he goes, "Don't worry about it. Let's have another drink." And I thought, what a disgusting message that put forward.
So basically,
that message was a case of, "I've aborted 2 kids. Let's have a party." And I thought, bunch of, and to me, it disgusted it. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm about to get rid of all my Orville DVDs. That's freaking disgusting. And
so
I
basically,
just don't want to watch it next week.
So basically, Scott Grimes has now done 2 episodes as Geordie with Leah Brahms. He's done both the Leah Brahms episodes then with Geordie. He's done both. Yeah, I had that running through my head, but I saw that first one when he falls in love with all the rest of it, and I think, okay, that's the so that's the episode of Next Generation where Geordie
I'll do that. So that's me finished the spoilers. But that's what I felt about that episode to the point I'm actually thinking of not watching the Orville again. I'm disgusted. And it was it really annoyed me. It last me about the About a Girl one. The girl who played Topa was absolutely amazing, fantastic actress. She was amazing. The depth, the emotions, everything. You're sitting there thinking, she's going to be great as she grows older. I want to see her in more.
Yeah.
And it had a feel good ending. But it was the bit where it doesn't matter, it's her decision. No, what you're saying is you made the decision for her, not her decision. I decided that she needed to know. So it wasn't her decision, it was mine, not the parents, mine. And that's effectively, she says, because I think it's right, doesn't matter what you, the father, thinks.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in watching, as I say, because it's again, as I said, the same for the one before.
Sorry, Roman.
I didn't necessarily see a lot of that. As I say, I mean, that although the rabbi himself has said he can.
I was enjoying the episode up until that part. See if they'd finished it and he just got angry and says, "That's it, I resign. I'm leaving. I'm not wanting with you two." Then it was a case of their one that says it's okay, we have to do that, and there's another one who's saying is that was my kid. So you still got 2 sides, and then you can decide what one you think is the right one. But the fact is, no, I'm not actually leaving. So this whole thing was I pretend that I could be leaving the show because, and then they don't, and it's.
I mean, I've struggled to get into the 3rd season overall. The first one was okay because I understood there was more behind it than it was, but Orville for me was something to just, hey, I can finally just sit back and relax after like 15 years of J.J. Abrams, Jar Jar Abrams.
Woke bits here and there in it, but they weren't overly.
Don't care.
And some of the storylines, they left it a bit ambiguous so you could decide what you agreed with.
Don't forget, when Orville first came about, it was under the brand of 20th Century Fox, right?
And it was more. It was more of a parody, so it was more. Second season, they changed the comic, and then the 3rd season, they're at Hulu.
But now, don't forget, there is a big, huge gap between season 2 and season 3, and times have changed, which has probably affected this season.
Yeah, but it was still made. It was made.
No, it's affected the production, not the writing, the quality that comes underneath it.
Yeah,
Because
but
the
the
production
fact
people are the ones that are
messages
literally
are-
at the chokehold of the
And the thing
current
is,
day.
these were filmed well before the current situation with the Roe v. Wade or whatever it is over the States. But so this was filmed ages ago, but it was the whole message to me it gave out. Oh, we just killed your 2 kids. Oh, you did the right thing. Let's have a drink. Oh.
Well, it's surprising, especially after they just had that 1, 2, 3 episodes earlier when they say, okay, well, what the Krill do is we make you we do an extrapolation and we make you talk to the kid you aborted. That's a very powerful to me. That's a very powerful thing because I can imagine that I can imagine that being done in such a way that that you've got incredibly tearful parents because they had to do this.
Yeah.
So
See, the thing is, they were basically going down the route as not somebody that had to have it done. It was someone who decided they wanted.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
But the thing is, you don't know why they decided.
No.
Was it a case of they were so poor and they couldn't have actually fed? They barely lived themselves. So the decisions they were going around it, or was it a case of one of the two of them was dying?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know. And
No,
that's
you
the
don't.
thing. So that's still a powerful scene. And even the fact is, he said it was almost a case of that is really cruel. So that's basically telling you how they think. So
Exactly.
it gives you both sides, so you can decide what one you agree
That's
with.
what I'm saying.
That is powerful. But this one,
that's what I'm saying. Is that
the way it ended just really annoyed me.
So I mean, that summed it up for me. Cases, okay, that's the left for that particular type of thought process.
Yeah,
responsibility.
And to me, you sort of saw that right up until that part. If they had sort of even told him and left it, so you didn't hear, you just saw his face, and then it just faded out, and that was the end. So then you'd say, because they obviously keep aging up Topa, it could be a year later or 6 months later, and and they could just mention about how he's still
everything
feels about it, but it doesn't
very
need to be a
quickly.
major thing because it could be months down the line and he still thinks about it, but you don't know if he thinks he understands why they did it, but he doesn't like it or whatever. He didn't even mention it, but what they did, I just thought was bad, and that to me it shows exactly what they think, and that's why I think next week I ain't watching the Orville. I'm just dropping it.
Well,
because it disgusted me.
Catching up so far, but I mean, it is isn't it? As again, probably developed. I think it's performance of what's most used to say, topsy turvy world, where Star Trek Strange New Worlds is almost real Star Trek, and the Orville's the shit stuff. What I mean,
the way I was looking at it before, is it gets bad when Star Trek starts copying the Orville, and the Orville is a homage to Star Trek. So instead of Star Trek just running themselves, they've went, oh, they're successful, let's copy them. But they're fucking copying you.
Star Trek is copying the
original
parody
stuff
of themselves.
Yes, they're copying the parody, and that's exactly how the current Star Trek looks. It's just copying the Strange New World. I've not watched it, but I've heard about it, and to me it sounds like it's copying the Orville. And I'm sitting there thinking, Vic, the Orville is a parody of Star Trek. Initially it started out as a parody. It's got a lot more serious, no denying that. It was a bit more of a parody, and people saw it as a parody because it was so comical.
Exactly.
It circles back to our core complaint. There is no creative talent left in Hollywood for some reason. We don't know what happened. It's sometime, for me, I started noticing it in 2008.
No matter about my criticisms about it, it is so well written.
There are a few unique items still
And
coming
that's
out,
what Apple,
but
isn't it?
they are literally unicorns today.
Yeah.
Compared to when I was growing up. Kindergarten Cop, absolutely amazing. I keep forgetting what Schwarzenegger's when he's the dad trying to hunt down the last toy, well, whatever it is, for his
Jingle
kid.
All the Way.
Jingle All the Way, yes.
Yeah.
Twins, absolutely amazing. You took a superhero action, explosions, everything, Terminator, Predator, and you turned him into a family man. And it culminated really well in True Lies.
Yeah.
But that had a super stellar cast with Jamie Lee Curtis and the girl from Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show.
Well, the one Willow.
No, Elijah
But not
Dushku.
only that, you had Poirot. I keep forgetting his name because it's more complicated. Pouchet, Martin Pouchet, something like that, and he's playing the evil bad guy.
Yeah.
And then you have even the villain he's facing. Arnold Schwarzenegger was known. Okay, it was 30 years prior to be Mr. Universe, the biggest, the most muscliest man on the planet. And in one of the fight scenes in True Lies, they actually get someone that is even more jacked, more pumped than he is, and he's even like a foot taller than Schwarzenegger. It might be some camera tricks or whatever it is, but it is just, it adds to the comedy and everything. And if you pay close attention to that bathroom fight scene, you can tell that the fixtures are made out of rubber, because when he's pressing his head into one of them, you
It's
can
bending.
see how it bends. And that was in the official release.
It's almost as bad as a stormtrooper banging his head. Doink!
Yeah.
Yeah, Elijah Dushku. Thanks,
Go,
Colin.
oh, you mean Faith from Buffy?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know what one it was.
She did Dollhouse and quite a few other things.
She
I
did.
think she got like a fairly decent career. I don't think it was anything that really caught my fancy, but I think she managed to do other stuff alongside of Buffy and Angel and all of that stuff.
Didn't she also have some sort of history with Joss Whedon that wasn't necessarily entirely good?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
remember right.
Yeah.
I think she did something
I'm
after.
sure she was involved
Might
with
have
it.
been. It sounds vaguely familiar, but I do try, like I keep saying, I do try to stay away from it. It's just like, okay, the actor behind the character did some bad stuff in their life, will not change the fact that I liked what they did in the film.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, agree.
See, the thing is, I saw a tweet yesterday, and it was somebody asking, "You remember this band?" And it was Adamant. And you remember what's happened with Adamant.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, my favourite band was Adam and the Ants. I
I
used to be able to
remember-
sing all the songs. I don't know
remember-
what it was. I used to be able to draw the ant with the headdress. Used to do that in my work on the roof because it was all a plaster board roof, and so any bits fell off. Because we had a coal fire, a log fire, it was always black. So I would draw it on the chalk, and that's what everybody would do.
I remember Adamant did a very good job of playing an extremely creepy white slaver in an early episode of The Equalizer. The Edward Woodward version. There was one of those. It was I'm on the episode because I can't remember the name. I can't remember the name of the actor that played opposite him. But the actor that played opposite, the basic storyline was a team that they come to New York. This family from Hicks come to New York and they're their daughter gets kidnapped.
Was
But-
that an Edward Woodward?
Yes, it was an Edward Woodward. It was first season's really, but I can't remember the name of the actor that played the father. But he usually plays the tough man, and he just had his breakdown when his daughter disappeared. There's some acting in that I remember was fantastic. I say, because you've got someone who you normally know as a new romantic pop star moving into acting, doing very well actually, and they're doing really well. Original. Okay.
Well, a few rock stars did that back during.
Yeah, but but he did it, and he did it really. He did it quite well. As I said, I mean, I remember that it's a change of. Let's see if I can actually find the.
Let's not go back to that Boy George episode in the 80s.
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is some of them there is no. Some of them actually can do. They some people have got. Here we go. I've got the acting chops.
Who?
JT Walsh was the guy. Was the guy that played, and I say you normally know him from the sort of, I say, the sort of tough guy things, tough cop and this sort of thing. But he in this particular episode he played the father. He was literally he's crying, he's breaking out because he can't do anything to save his daughter who's been kidnapped, and it's going to be sent to a brothel. It's a very powerful episode. Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, I've not seen Fight Club, but just
I've not seen Fight Club either. But Meatloaf's been in a few.
Oh yeah, he's really.
He basically did quite a bit.
Especially that brief scene.
Actors and actresses that have starred. You look at Toya Wilcox. She was in Quadrophenia.
Yeah.
Quadrophenia. I love Quadrophenia. It was just one of those things. But Toya Wilcox, I remember her. Never liked her as a singer, but
Olivia Newton-Bomb.
Oh, aye. Yes, Olivia Newton-Bomb. I loved Olivia Newton-Bomb.
Oh, God, you started him off.
I'm saying nothing, but
but
there's
started to watch out for a long time ago.
Really good ones out there. Sex Almighty, Kylie Minogue. She's been in Doctor Who and everything. Yeah. She basically she started as an actress, did music. Now she's more known for music than acting, but she still acts.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, there are some people out there who just goes to prove have got more than one string to their bow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look at Mick Jagger, he couldn't act in one film.
Yeah.
But don't forget, sometimes you always get, the singers that transition to acting, and you got some actors who transition into singers.
Yeah.
I agree with Pastor, David Bowie in a number of films. That
Debbie Harry, Blondie. I used to. I was a big Blondie fan, so I was. But David Bowie, Christ Almighty, the man who fell to earth.
Yes,
David Bowie.
Did the one about the Second World War, did he?
Roger Daltrey. He was the Who, wasn't he?
He done a lot.
He did the
Roger Daltrey did Tommy,
the Pinball Wizard.
Tommy, Lisa Mania.
Tommy.
He also did one that was based on a prisoner. I can't remember. I've got to remember the name of the film.
But he's been
the Vicar. Yeah.
Videodrome, yeah, perfect. That's a great one as well. I loved when she went solo. I got her album as well, and it wasn't as good. She was better as Blondie. Used to sing all the great songs like Beneath the Knees, that's where the ankles are, and stuff like that.
Don't forget.
Because remember, we had the Barren Nights, so we would take the Barren Nights
Oh,
and
yes.
Yeah.
apply it to all the music. So you would start with Blondie's Denise, and it's ended up being Beneath the Knees. That's where the ankles are.
Can I just bring something up? Back in the 60s, you had what you call all those bands and all this and that from the 60s. Did a lot of films like the Beatles.
All right, the Beatles, there's the
Beatles,
Monkeys,
Cliff,
Cliff Richard, yes.
Elvis.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
on a summer holiday. I remember Summer Holiday. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Elvis, Christ.
yeah.
Elvis done quite a lot.
Uh-huh. And there was a load. It basically singers, but as Roman says, it doesn't always work actor to singer, but it definitely works a lot better singer to actor.
Something you look at Tom Ellis in Lucifer.
Uh-huh.
They actually put musical bits in Lucifer because Tom Ellis can play and sing. Because they did one bit, and in one episode they had a bit where
I'll give you one that they did the same thing with. I'd be the same pet, Jimmy Neal.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
he
yeah,
wanted
that
to
was
sing,
that.
so they introduced him as doing a couple of songs, and then he did Crocodile Shoes and stuff like that. He became known as a singer as well, but he started off as an actor. He started off as a voice.
I can go back even further than that. Unfortunately, it half killed the Tomorrow People with Mike Bell and Flintlock because Mike Bell came into
Thank you, Jim.
Right, Jim.
Tomorrow
Cheers
People.
and thank you.
And he had a pop band at the time, and they brought the band in, and they brought his cat, and that I'm not saying it killed the Tomorrow People, but it changed it a little bit. But yeah, exactly. It goes, but you get these things, and sometimes they've got another skill they can use. Oh, great, we'll bring it in.
Can I just mention one person? Dennis Waterman.
Dennis Waterman, yeah.
Waterman's Minder.
Yeah.
I'm
Singing
so
the
good for you.
I mean, it goes other ways as well.
I know another one. This will give you an example. Remember?
Yeah.
Clive Dunn.
Granddad.
Yeah.
Granddad. Just so happened to have Jonesy sitting here. Every time I was actually in today and I was carrying on with this.
Oh,
And
don't forget.
the two dogs went nuts and we're trying to get them
Don't
again.
forget, there is a clip of the cast of Dad's Army performing at the Royal.
Yeah, they basically, that's right, there is. It's actually on YouTube. Anybody wants to watch it, but I've watched it. It's Arlone just being very Arthurly.
I know.
But
there's some interesting. I mean, it's interesting. You quite often see actors bring something in and gets brought in. I mean, remember Robin Sherwood,
Yes.
the 1980s one? Yeah, right. Well, they start off with Robert Addy, who went on to be in Excalibur as well, who played Gisborne, and so on. And he said, they said to him, "Can you ride a horse?" I said, "Yeah, of course, I can." Of course, every actor always says they can ride a horse. As it happens, Robert Addy was a skilled horseman, so they gave him this. They give him this this old nag who won't do anything. And then until he showed him what he could actually do, they actually let him ride properly and do his stunts and the rest of it. And Mark Ryan, who played Nasir, was originally supposed to be killed off in the first story, but he was so good. He was actually a stunt performer, and he was so good in that again they actually brought him in to carry on.
Yeah, be right back, guys. 2 seconds.
No problem.
I mean, Yeah, you're right. The other thing is, you also got a lot of the actors when you get actors doing singles. Either they're comedy. I mean, I used to have when I was a kid. I used to have quite a few records that were like Pinky and Perky and this sort of thing, that were comedy records, or they were when it became popular. I mean, I've got a feeling Grandad might actually have been a charity record. I'm not sure about that.
Right.
But you sometimes have that. You would indeed. You'd have actors who have perhaps had some skill, talent, and they did a song here or a record there, and they ended up they did it, but they did it because it was for a charity rather than to launch a singing career.
Good point. Disaster area.
Yeah. Well, or even going back.
Which Mike Reed are you talking about? DJ or the comedian?
I don't
Yes,
remember
it's
Mike
Mike
Reed
Reed.
acting. I must admit, but even
There's
what?
two
Okay,
Mike Reeds.
yeah, I think one's RWD and one's REID. I think.
Mm.
But even you go back. Oh God, I don't know. Oh, my brain's completely switched off. Tony, no. Vic in DS9.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Vic Fontaine.
His actor, who goes all the way back to the Time Tunnel, was a
That's
singer.
right. He played.
He was Tony in the Time Tunnel.
Tony.
I've forgotten his name.
Aye.
Because he was
Kojak,
also,
David Soul, Lee Marvin, Mike
he
Reid.
was also
And
in the
don't
Guns N'
forget
Roses.
William Shatner and
Yeah.
Leonard Nimoy both did songs as well.
I know.
Oh my God! Even
Bilbo Baggins or something with Leonard Nimoy.
Bilbo Baggins. Ballad
Yeah.
of Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah.
they
And,
were.
James Darren.
William Shatner stoned out of his brains.
He just basically sat there and just spoke the words.
Yeah.
Got a correction to make. In season 2 of For All Mankind,
Yeah.
John Lennon didn't get assassinated. John Paul II did,
Gotcha.
but the Royals welcomed Kamala Parker Bowles, Duchess of, into the royal family.
So
I misheard it. They were basically. It was just. I must have skipped over it. It's just they mentioned. I heard Camilla Parker Bowles, and then I saw the royal, and then the thing. It was the royal wedding. It wasn't so.
Oh, right. Yeah,
I in this alternate history, apart from the fact that they're changing who died and who, so and let Margaret Thatcher getting killed and the Pope getting killed and stuff like that. At least for this one, they actually went down an honourable route. So I take that back about how I hated that aspect of it. So I take it back. So can't help myself. I couldn't actually. I was trying to find that bit to prove I was right, and I proved I was wrong.
TJ Hooker was the other thing.
Oh, TJ Hooker, see the way you used. Do you know what William Shatner and Dee Hepburn have in common?
What's that?
Do you know who Dee Hepburn is?
Not particularly, no.
Dee Hepburn was in a movie with Claire Grogan, who was also a singer.
Oh, Red Dwarf.
Gregory's girl.
Yeah, Red Dwarf.
Yeah,
she was in Red Dwarf as well, but
the original Kachansky, wasn't she?
She was a better Kachansky. Claire Grogan, she had to be known as CP Grogan, but she used to be the front runner of Altered Images, and I was a big Altered Images fan as well.
And they're still going today.
Aye, they're still going. But she was in a movie with Dee Hepburn. It was a Scottish movie called Gregory's Girl with John Gordon Sinclair as Gregory. And it was all about how he was in love with Dee Hepburn's character. But Claire Grogan's character fancied him. So there was all round about that. It's a really good movie. It's fun. It's a bit wacky because there's a part where he's going into school and a penguin walks past. A guy in a penguin suit just keeps every so often walks past, and you're sitting there going, "What the fuck's it's just the directors just decided to throw something silly in, and actually you're just sitting there. I like it because I like Claire Brogan. I was a big Orton Image fan, and before she was in Red Dwarf, she was in this. However, Dee Hepburn, who was the football star in the movie about Gregory, but Dee Hepburn was the star of the football team. And she had the same problem as William Shatner had in T.J. Hooker. She could not run to feckin' save herself.
Yeah.
Because you remember the bit we always used to see T.J. Hooker running in the Linda Locklear, Heather Locklear, and I can't even remember the guy's name. Running, they were always behind him, and they finally catch up with him. It was, and William Shatner couldn't run, so they had to actually slow down, but make it look as if they were running as fast. Well, I knew people who actually were on the set because Gregory's Girl was filmed in Cumbernauld, and I used to work with a couple of people who went to school, and they were saying they were in the group in the back. She's meant to be running away ahead of the pack as they're doing laps round the school. Remember the 400 meters track all round all the football pitches?
Oh God, yes.
Yes, and so they would do the track, and she's meant to be running round ahead of all the crowd, and then you would see it from above, and you see her ahead and the crowd, and then they would show it from her the low, looking at her, and she's pumping as I said, running, and they're behind her. They said they were told to run as slow as they could because she could not run to save herself. William Shatner and Dee Hepburn could not run, and everybody around them had to pretend that they were running fast, but they could not be near them. No, they had to look as if they were running fast, so there was no deliberately slow motion because they were not going to speed it up. They were just the way they were going to film it. They just wanted people to make it look as if they were running faster than they were.
It's not like they were doing the Benny Hill, were they?
I know, no, they weren't. That would have been better. But Dee Hepburn, I always remember that from Gregory's Girl. Gregory's Girl is a movie we should do at some point. That is a fun movie. Baywatch running. At least Baywatch learning they slowed it down. In this one, they couldn't even. They ran that slow that they had to tell people not to run fast.
On the other hand, Shatner bounced almost as much as the Baywatch babes did. Yes.
Best one I ever heard of that was Porridge.
Yeah.
Fletcher was trying to get somebody to read a book and buy the book off him because he was running the library, and he was giving Little Women. He says, "Oh, do I want Little Women?" He says, "It's one of those books." And it explains and says they do a lot of running in this, and they always end up with black eyes. It's not with their knees, you understand? And it's all that. And he would read a bit, and then he would get so far, and then he would stop. And the guy would give him a bar of chocolate for Little Women, thinking it's a sex book. They got him down when you're running. I'm not talking about her knees. Oh.
It's like,
I love the Bionic Women. I was aware that they used to do the Bionic run, the Steve Austin run. I like the jump. I used to love the Bionic Women. That was a fun one.
Well, they were.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the amazing thing about the Bionic Man is that crash at the beginning is obviously real.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't fatal. The pilot actually survived, if I remember correctly, relatively.
I heard that. And the reason they picked that one is they had to pick one that someone survived in because they didn't want to be disrespectful and show a crash that somebody died and say, this man survived, we can rebuild him, because that's why they deliberately picked that one, because the pilot survived it, which, considering how thick and fast it was. The $6 million man, the Bigfoot episode. Oh, that was almost as bad as the Hulk and the Bear episode.
I've actually read. It reminds me. I've actually read the 3 original books that $6 Million Man was based on, and they're actually quite good. There's a 4th one which came out a while ago. I haven't read yet. Which
What one?
goes back in space.
What were they based on? I don't know.
The author Martin Cajun, who also wrote Maroon, an old 1960s movie. But it was the $6 Million Man was based on a series of novels by Martin Cajun. Cyborg was the first one.
You would never do $6 million man now. $6 billion man, maybe.
Yeah.
But then again,
Well, probably true.
see, they had the Bionic Woman and the $6 million man. They can't have that now because there's no way on earth any government's paying any money like that for a man. $6 billion woman and a Bionic man you may get, but you'll not get the $6 million man or the $6 billion because you know it's going to be billion instead of million. Because millions is nothing nowadays for technology like that.
That's true.
But so you'll never get the $6 billion man. You may get the $6 billion woman and the Bionic man, but you'll never have that, which is crazy.
Well, the thing is, amongst other things, that is the origin of the word cyborg. The reason the book is called Cyborg is because it's a cybernetic organism.
Bionic dog. What's bionic? I've never seen anything with a bionic dog. Although I have seen a bionic dog.
Yeah.
Twitter every so often posts ones like there was one posted today, a dog that was born with 2 noses. And obviously there was the gap with its teeth and it looked ugly as buggery, but it's healthy enough. It knows if it's thingy. So yes, so that people always post ones like that. And there was one about a dog that was born with 3 legs and it had a leg instead of a wheel. Somebody had actually fitted it out with one that it was almost like a stump. It had a wee stump, so it was attached to the stump, but it had a wee bit of flexibility. And somebody called it a bionic dog because they actually named it Steve.
Well, technically, it is. Because all the bionic is a mixture of cybernetic organism. It's literally, to a degree, Alex and I could potentially both be called cyborgs.
Are we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're wearing glasses. It would be an extremely long stretch.
Yes.
No, I didn't see the remake disaster area, but I did hear it was.
See the crazy expensive. Whew.
Yeah, but
I saw the remake of the Bionic Woman, and it was the girl who played in Doctor Who, the one where the bus goes through.
It was the one that played Lady.
The one with Lee Evans in it. The one who's Lee Evans is the Doctor.
Yes.
She was the cat burglar, and the people thought she was going to be a new companion. She played the Bionic Woman, and my God, it was absolute garbage. It was rubbish.
Yeah, I'd not certainly seen it, but I had.
And you don't want to see it. It's like watching the new Knight Rider, where they had a Mustang.
I know.
And they pressed the button and it changed. Really? Yeah. It's technology. They just cause. See, to me, make the $6 million man. Set it in the 70s or 80s, and just use the technology they've got today to make it look better. So you can still have them running about with tracksuit on and stuff like that, but you can make it look better. You don't need to speed up the move when he's running across a field. Stuff like that, but you could actually do something like that, make set it in the past a bit.
Let's stick that up, PJ.
What's yep.
This man's written a few books. It's Martin Caden.
Martin Caden. Do you know, Roman? I don't know. World of Books. You never know. You might be able to pick something up in there from them.
I've got
check World of Books every so often, and sometimes it's amazing what you can get in there.
I've got all I will say is that most. Well, I've actually got them in hard copy, but I've also recently got all of the $6 Million Man books as ebooks. There you go. Operation Nuke is 2. Most of these I've not even seen. A lot of these, but some of them. Cyborg 4, that's one I haven't read yet.
Zobia. What the hell is Zobia?
I have no idea. Let's have a look.
Aircraft.
I've got Dark Messiah, so I haven't read that yet. High Crystal's the third one. That, if I remember right, that's where they're after something in the Andes. Mm-hmm. So Operation Duke was 2. Well, that's a good old fashioned book cover. That.
Yeah, I know. Looks amazing, doesn't it? You used to look of the actual cover. That's the type of things that used to drag my eye and go, "Oh, that looks good."
Yeah,
never read the back of it. I'd take it home, read it. It was in the library. You'd just go along and go, "Oh, that looked good. Take it."
I used to when I used to actually battle forward, I'd go up to Forbidden Planet in London, and in fact, I'd go up to Tottenham Court Road, and there were about 3 or 4 bookshops there which did imported American ones, and I usually prefer to get an American print to a British print because their covers were so much better. But you've got yeah, I mean,
got 10 minutes, guys. I need to be going in 10 minutes.
Oh, okay, mate. But I mean, he's done, as I say, Martin Caden as an author. I don't know if he's still writing. He's done a few Indiana Jones novels.
Well, definitely need to get an Indiana Jones
World War II novels,
and so it's not the fourth book, the fourth movie.
No, these are, if I remember right, these are sort of what you might say. They're the sort of novels Indiana Jones was supposed to be paying homage to, the pulp type ones. But yeah, the final countdown there from the film. Buck Rogers' Life in the Future. I've read that. That's actually quite good. He did that. That was sort of the Buck Rogers story, but as it was as a biography, I think. Not read that.
The last dogfight looks good. Just based on the actual cover.
Yeah. The Mendelov Conspiracy, I think,
the cover. Same as Prison Ship. Is another one I would pick up based on the cover.
That's definitely a Bane cover.
Uh-huh.
Bane books.
It's amazing how you see a cover and you think, I want to read that. Even if you don't know what the story's about, the cover just goes, "Give me you."
Yeah.
And that's perfect. Katie Sackhoff was in it. Right, hold on. I've missed a couple of the ones. So, the girl from EastEnders, done by guys who did. That's the one that played. She was also in Doctor Who.
Michelle something.
She was in Doctor Who as well. So she was. Yeah, she was in EastEnders. And World of Books is where I go every so often. So I've picked up some Warhammer ones. I've picked up some stuff for work. I picked up SQL Server books. Brand new SQL Server book was 40 quid, and I wanted the one for the previous version because I've got a free copy of the previous version of SQL Server, and I got 3 books for 12 quid. So basically, and the difference was it was a year old, actually 2-year-old, and that's all because that's when the older version of the sequel was out. So yeah.
As I said, I mean, I've got most of those.
I'd like to go with Katie Sackhoff in it.
Yeah,
right, thank you for joining us. We'll be finishing in 5 minutes, or 9 minutes according to my clock. But we'll be finishing
shortly.
Stop
calling me Shorty.
Surely you can't mean it. I do, and stop calling me Shirley.
I was watching. You say that I was watching a video earlier on today, about the police squad TV series that moved and how it failed, and then it moved into the
Movies.
airplane and then the Naked Gun movies.
Yeah.
So I was saying what hadn't actually occurred to me is that what the secret of those ones, especially ones like Airplane, was that you took serious actors.
Well, I know Leslie Nielsen was a
More to the
serious
point,
actor.
who played it seriously.
They were told to play
didn't
it
play it
seriously.
for-
They were told
play
never
it for
to
laughs.
actually play for laughs.
Yeah, but the thing is about the film Aeroplane, they bought the entire film called Zero
It was
Hour.
one with William
Yeah.
Shatner in it.
Ye-
It was the one that William Shatner, because if you watch the two of them side by side, line for line.
I think I've got a feeling I actually saw Airplane 2 before I saw
Space Shuttle.
Airplane 1. Yeah,
Space Shuttle was Aeroplane
because
too.
that fantastic bit with Shatner taking the piss out of him, he's talking on
Yeah.
the screen, then he opens the door and this person standing the other side.
Yeah.
I had no idea that Kate Sackhoff was in that. Yeah, I've seen it. I just can't remember her being in it. I think it was because it was so bad that I just remember the girl who
Michelle Ryan. Is it?
she was just dire. I can't even say it was definitely her. It just didn't work for some reason with her. But it was the whole premise of it. It just seemed, it doesn't work.
I think I saw the pilot for the remake of Knight Rider, and David Hasselhoff was in it as Knight.
Yeah.
Handing over to his son.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I didn't like that at all.
But
I did not like the new Knight
I don't
Rider.
remember seeing much of the series beyond that.
I didn't like it because even the fact is they updated the car and they had a Mustang. All I thought was, no, you want the same bloody car. You want Kit. Kit would be the only thing you want to be the same, because you might not be able to have Roddy McDowell to do the voice.
Yeah.
But you want Kit. I'd be like saying we want the new Doctor Who, but we don't want the old TARDIS. Really?
We'll get that in the first episode of Jodie Whittaker.
No, but the TARDIS we're talking about, it'd be like saying we're having Star Trek, but you're not allowed to have the Enterprise. You can have any other ship, but it can't look like the Enterprise either.
This explains why modern Star Trek is so shit.
Yes. But the thing is, you get away with it. So Voyager, because you're not making the original Star Trek. That's why it wasn't just called Star Trek. So you had Voyager, you had the Next Generation, which had the Enterprise. It looked similar, but it looked updated. So you get away with it because it's not a remake. So they've changed the Enterprise. All they've done is they've brought it into the Next Generation. You get away with that. Then they give you the previous one, Enterprise, and it sort of looks like it, but it's meant to be an earlier version. I thought that was ridiculous, but it was there. And then you had Deep Space Nine, all fine, because it'd be like saying we want the original Star Trek. It's like saying we're redoing the Star Trek movies, and we're going to have the Excelsior. Where's the Enterprise? Oh, we're having the Enterprise.
That's another thing I think that the Orville did right, that they took. I don't know if it was a conscious, deliberate decision or not, but they did what most of the Star Trek shows up until the recent shit have done, and they named the show after the main location.
Yeah.
Because you got Star Trek and then the Next Gen, but then after that, what the animated series, but every show after that was named after the location, was named after
Voyager. So the ship was the Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise.
You name them after the locations, which is why I expected Star Trek Picard to be on a ship named for Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that explains STD, because it's full of pricks.
Yes.
Well, someone someone that must have been someone pushing something through somewhere to get it called Star Trek Discovery.
I quite agree. Everybody keeps on going
Yeah,
on
but
about
then-
what program would they like to remake now. None, zero, nada. There's very few remakes. There's one remake I think. Well, there's two remakes that I think worked. The first Charlie's Angels movie.
Never saw those.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
good. It was good because they had, believe it or not, the original Charlie
Yep.
and the three girls, and it worked. Second one, and they had a Bosley, worked. Then the second one, now we need to change Bosley, but we're going to keep him as Bosley.
Because they had problems with Bill Murray.
Oh,
on
but
set.
they could have changed the character name.
Yeah.
Don't even, because the guy was a hell of a lot taller, bigger built, black, but he was not Bosley. Make him a new character and it would work. But because you're saying, hey, that's a new Bosley, you're sitting there thinking, doesn't work for me now. Because of that, simple like that. It's the same idea. The other movie I think worked, and the reason I'm saying it worked is because it's technically a remake, but to me it was a continuation, was Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The original one was in a small town. The new one was in a city, and the character names were slightly different, but it was a remake of the original. But it was done so well that you could say, well, maybe one truck did get through and only one or two of the pods survived, so they're having to reset it all in a bigger city and do it longer. 2-minute warning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're getting ready. Unfortunately, I did not get to the charity shop. I did not get out and about. I've been busy. So there is no pick of the week this week. The next I got to a pick of the week is I've got cans of Iron Brew rather than bottles.
Normal service.
What about yourself? Did you manage to get anything?
No.
No.
I told you I'm not buying anything for a while.
I know, but Colin's here as well. It says, did Jews? I didn't say did you.
Yeah, Colin
doesn't have money, doesn't do shopping, and he's been at home ill for most of this week anyway. So
yeah, and we've got to get you.
Both versions were great. The Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yes.
I love both of them, and I think they worked because it wasn't a shot-for-shot remake. It was almost as if it was a continuation. There was enough you knew it was a remake, but they updated it and they did it well, and they didn't shite all over the old one to make their new one good. They just made a good movie, and it was different enough that it felt like a continuation of the story. Basically, it was great. I was the first, apart from MASH, it was the first time I had seen Donald Sutherland in a movie that I thought, wow, that was fucking good. Because I'd seen him in things like he'd been a professor in this, and he'd done this and that. And he was just, he's just another actor. And then I saw him in MASH, and I thought he's actually quite funny. And then I saw him in the Invasion of Body Snatchers, and I thought, fuck, he's no funny anymore. I thought he's no funny anymore. I thought he's a really good actor, and yes, it sort of crap at me. Right, that is now. And the cast was fantastic. Yes, we're going to have Animal House. Oh, he played the professor, stoking about with his ass hanging out his jumper. Nimoy was also in Them, my favourite movie of the time. He played the thing. Anyway, boys and girls, ladies and gents, I have to finish now. Thank you very much for sticking with us. We will be here on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, can you guys remember the movie?
Shawshank Redemption.
I can't remember. That's why I was asking. We have got a list of movies, so we have. So give me 2 seconds and I'll dig up my list. Because I did message it. So There it's there. Next week is Little Shop of Horrors, the classic
right.
one. Little
Yes,
Shop
yeah,
of
we know.
Horrors with Jack Nicholson, not the one with Rick Moranis. We are going to be doing that one. And
Two
we
versions.
have got a list, and we have got quite an extensive list, but anything needs to be put on. Any even suggestions, put a comment in, and we can actually look at that as well. Because there's a couple of things that I want to add to the list, and I've not, like for instance, Gregory's Girl. Fantastic movie. I've got, as you can see, I've got over 1,300 movies.
Right. Can I recommend one for the list if you haven't done it already?
Yep, just let us in. We'll add it to it.
What, Local Hero?
Yes, we can add that to the list.
Yeah.
But it'll be
Down the line, no.
we've
Yeah.
got about 2 months worth on it.
That's
So
fine.
we know. So, ladies and gents, it's not a case of I forget and wait until the last minute before I let people know. I will put that up tomorrow so everybody will know. Thank you very much for sticking with us, Colin. Alec. Thank you, Jim, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for the chat. It has been fun. Looking forward to it. Oh, Howard the Duck. Yes, I love Howard the Duck. That's going on the list as well. It's definitely going on the list. It is actually on my list, but we're taking the lists for the guys and we're going to add them to it. We've got a big pile to watch and we're digging it. But yes, we will have them on. Howard the Duck as well. I loved Howard. Howard was one of my favourites growing up. I loved it. But we have got no pick of the week. So sorry, ladies and gents, not had a round. And we're going to have to go now. So, ladies and gents, boys and girls, thank you for sticking with us. See you on Wednesday and then next Saturday. And remember, I'm not old, I'm classic. PJ maybe and